Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may find yourself, whatever plane of existence you may find yourself in. Welcome to the Fantanny Experience with me, your host, Buck Fantanny. Terry Bobolino, a recent guest of our show and the owner of Bobolino Construction, has found himself in hot water, one more time, as it were, after launching into several racist tirades against Asian Americans on the inaugural episode of the Fantanny Experience. Mr. Bobolino was arraigned in Manistee Court yesterday on charges of driving under the influence, reckless driving causing great bodily injury, and child endangerment. According to the police report, Mr. Bobolino was driving at high speed, heavily under the influence of alcohol, with his young grandson in the car with him, and he ended up colliding with another driver, a teenager, a student over here at Manistee High School, which not only seriously injured this young man, but also caused extensive damage to the storage units at the corner of Deer Street and M94. Mr. Bobolino joins us today to discuss these criminal charges against him, of which he claims is complete innocence. Hello, Terry.
Yes, sir.
Terry, thank you for joining us. I'm sure this must be a stressful time for you.
Elvin, Grandpa's on the phone. Go watch Anderson. Grandpa will be in a minute.
Terry?
I'm sorry, Buck. I'm here with my grandson, Elvis. Yeah, go watch Anderson. My grandson's here. He's 4 years old, Elvis Bobolino. We watch Anderson Cooper every night when he stays over at Papa's house. And even though Anderson isn't outright homosexual, I don't hold it against him, although he'd probably like it if I did hold it against him, you know.
Terry, please, I don't want to go down whatever road you were just about to lead me down.
What? Sorry, Buck. I'm just trying to have a couple of laughs, you know.
Well, Terry, as I understand it, you're facing some very serious charges.
Well, Manistee Public Safety seems to think so, but my lawyer, Abram Goldberg, he's pretty convinced we got a good chance to come out on top of this one.
Terry, I've read the police report, and it really seems that the evidence is stacked against you.
Buck, maybe you're not aware of this, but in this country, we got something called innocent till proven guilty.
Well, yes, we do, Terry, but, let's start from the beginning. Walk me through what happened the other day.
I was down at Top 21 here in town. I bought my grandson some cheese curds and French fries, and while he was finishing his French fries, I had a couple of old fashions. I didn't think I was particularly intoxicated, despite whatever the police report may say. But we finished up and got into my mint condition '55 Chevy 150, which I only bring out in the summer, and we went down to the ice cream shop and got a chocolate shake.
And you were drunk?
No, sir. I was not drunk.
Well, Terry, the police report says you were over the legal limit by a significant amount. It says you had a blood alcohol level of 0.18, which under Michigan law constitutes being what law enforcement refers to, and quite humorously, I might add, as super drunk.
Well, those birds down there at Public Safety, they couldn't read a breathalyzer if their life depended on it.
Well, that may be. But approximately how many old fashions did you have?
Probably about 7 or 8.
And over how long?
Probably about 45 minutes, half an hour maybe.
Well, Terry, how were you not drunk?
Fantanny, I swear to God, I wasn't.
Okay. Well, that's neither here nor there at this point. Regardless, walk us through, if you would. Walk us through what happened to you after that.
Well, I was out with my grandson, as I said before. We left Top 21 and took a cruise in my mint condition '55 Chevy 150. All original. I bought it brand new in 1955.
Well, those are fantastic cars.
Yes, sir. It's got, I guess I should say it had, a built 454 under the hood. A roll cage to work.
So we're talking some serious muscle.
Oh, you bet. Custom built headers, Edelbrock everything, huge camshaft, 2 Holly double bumpers on top of a massive tunnel ramp.
You know, Terry, I remember that car from a movie. What was it? Two-lane blacktop.
Oh yes, sir. 2-lane blacktop with those 2 gays.
Well, I don't know about the validity of your estimation of their sexuality, but it was James Taylor and.
Oh yeah. It was my understanding that those two actors were perps. James Taylor and that's Fruit from the Water Boys.
Oh, it was Dennis Wilson from the Beach Boys.
Oh, yes, sir. The Beach, the Bleach Boys.
Well. Anyways, back to the.
Yeah. So we stopped down at the ice cream shop, and we do this quite often. My grandson likes for me to, light the tires up. He looks up at me with those steely blue Bobolino eyes, and he says, "Papa, will you light them up? Light them up." So he eats his ice cream, and Grandpa gets to peel a little rubber, and I get to, be the hero to my grandson. So I takes us over towards M94, and I starts giving the old 55 Chev the business, and I'm talking really driving the mustard to it, Fantanny. And baby, that 454 starts screaming.
And you do this with your grandson in the car when you're drunk and speeding?
Oh, he loves it. It just tickles him to death, as any red-blooded American male would be. Buck, that's a problem with this country.
Terry, I'm going to assume that this behavior led to the accident you were in.
Well, according to the police, but Fantanny, could I tell my story, please?
Yes, sir.
So I comes down to the corner of Deer Street and then 94. And, they have that blinking light right there.
Yes.
Well, I'm 94 years old, Mr. Fantanny, and that blinking light, sometimes I forget, that it isn't a stoplight. And I'm not the only one that happens to.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Terry, there's no stoplights in Manistee. There never have been.
Well, I know that, Buck. But, by God, when you get to be my age, you'll forget things sometimes.
Well, yeah, but how?
Fantanny, that blinking light over by Family Pride at the intersection of Deer Street and M94 is a death trap.
How?
It's an absolute death trap.
Yeah, but how so?
It's a death trap for the elderly. Seniors, such as myself, have bad eyesight, we have bad reaction time, and you got this blinking light that gives the impression that it's a stoplight. It confuses the hell out of the elderly in this town, and if you ask me, I think it's being done on purpose.
Terry, that is such a goofy thing to believe. I mean...
Daddy, I'm going to tell you something right now. Now you listen, and you listen good, Buster. It's because the town fathers, all those mongoloids down there at City Hall, they don't want seniors to drive. They want to take us off the road so the damn youngsters can drive 100 miles an hour up and down these roads. Young people are running wild in this town. And what the hell is everyone in such a hurry for? Look, Fantanny, they have got to take that light down and replace it with a stop sign. Because if they don't, I'm telling you right now, and mark my words, the bodies are going to be stacked to the ceiling in the town morgue.
Oh, God, Terry.
If they don't remove that light, and you remember these words, if they don't remove that light, they might as well build a cemetery right there on the side of the road so they could scrape the elderly of this town off the road after they get ran down to their deaths and chuck them right in the clay while they're still warm.
Terry, it seems to me that you are shirking any responsibility for this accident you were in. The police say you were drunk, super drunk, as a matter of fact. You were speeding. You had your young grandson, Elvis Bobolino, 4 years old, in the car with you.
That ain't got nothing to do with it, Fantany. I thought it was a stoplight. I wasn't expecting this dumbass kid, this turkey, to come out of the turn from M94 because I saw the blinking yellow light, and I assumed that meant I had, a few seconds before it turned red. Well, I wound it up, I gave the old 454 the business.
Terry, how long have you been driving in Manistee? Now, how many years?
Since 1946.
And you didn't realize that was not a stoplight?
No, I didn't. No, I did not. I had a momentary lapse of reason. And honestly, when I'm in the Chev, You know, I like to run through a stoplight when it's yellow, you know, for the rush. Fantanny, I'm telling you, when you're behind a 454, you get about as hard as...
Terry, with your grandson in the car, though?
Well, yes, sir. My grandson, he loves it. Little Elvis here. He's all Bobolino. You know, he loves the speed. He loves the power of American automotive muscle. We take trips to Escanaba, and baby, when I'm winding that 454 up, 5,000 RPM, and I'm running every yellow light that I come across, the only rush I've ever encountered that even come close to it was when we landed at Peleliu under fire.
Uh-huh.
When I hear the scream of that 454, it gets the blood pumping in these old veins. Oh, Jesus, does it rev me up. That 454 screaming gets me going like no woman ever has. I'm talking hard as a...
Hey, Terry, why don't you go ahead and let the public know exactly what happened when you ran what you assumed to be a stoplight?
Well, I was just passing the apple barrel, and I saw the yellow light, and I don't know why, but I thought it was about to turn red. It had nothing to do with the alcohol. I was not drunk. I was maybe a little buzzed. Maybe. Now, it had been a while since I drove, so I'm sure that contributed to my confusion. My sons, Joey and Bobby, they had the state come and take my driver's license away a few months ago.
So you weren't even licensed to drive?
Those two are trying to put me in a home. They thought, hey, we'll take the old man's license, take away his ability to run a 55 Chev at 75 miles per hour and feel the ponies between his legs. And well, the next step from that is when you take a man's wheels, next thing you know, you're in an old folks' home, being spoon-fed applesauce by a nurse, and your two mongoloid sons are running your business into the ground, sucking every last penny out of it.
Terry.
You know what goes on in those old folks' homes, don't you, Fantanny? The nurses are spoon-feeding you peas and carrots during the day, and when they turn the lights out at night, after they dope you up, they're coming into your room and, you know, bending you over, greasing you up, and going to work on you.
Terry, good God, please don't be so graphic.
Well, it's the damn truth. The homes for the elderly are rape factories.
Can we get back to the issue, please?
Well, I get lined up with the apple barrel there, the store. I put her into first gear, and oh, sweet Christ, I put the pedal through the floor. Opened up both those double pumpers wide open. 93 octane high test. Just shoveling it into the combustion chamber.
And how fast were you going?
Well, when I collided with that young man's vehicle, I would estimate I was doing about 75 miles per hour.
And drunk?
I was not. Look, this dumbass, this doper, and that other car whacked out on the wacky tobacco, guaranteed. Coming off M94, oblivious to a mint condition, 55 Chev, with a belt to the tits, 454 coming straight at him at high speed. He pulls out, and here I am cruising at 85 miles an hour, trying to be, you know, what I assume to be a red light at any second. How couldn't he feel the rumble of that 454 coming through town at 90 miles an hour? 2 tons of Motor City madness. 4,000 pounds of Detroit iron. Driven by a veteran of the Second World War. I'll never know how he did feel it. Well, anyways, he pulled out just as I shifted my Muncie 4-speed rock crusher, straight cut gears into top gear, and, well, we collided.
And then what happened?
Well, what the hell you think happened, Fantanny? My steel bumper smacked into his plastic rice burner, one of these Toyota crap cars. And this jack garbage cigarette pack of a car, the force of my Detroit iron, hitting that piece of nipped garbage, flipped the rice car over 3 times, blew it into pieces, and he came to a stop in front of Mudcats, took out about half of his lawnmower collection he's got going on in the front yard there.
Wow.
Yes, sir. After colliding with the sushi mobile, the front wheels of my Chev became jammed to the left, and my car became airborne.
Airborne.
Yes, sir. I achieved airborne. And well, we flew over the grass, probably about 40 feet, and smashed directly into the storage units on the other side of the road there, you know. And, well, the Chev went right through the storage units, every one of them, and out the backside where we came to a stop.
Terry, I'm really at a loss here.
Well, how the hell you think I feel, Fantany? There I am, with the business end of a mint-condition 55 Chevy 150, smashed in 6 feet from Sunday, with half a storage unit hanging off of it.
Now from the statement the police made yesterday, the young man driving the vehicle that you collided with before you drove through the storage units, he was seriously injured.
Yeah. He apparently is crippled from the impact.
For life.
Yes, sir, as I understand it, for the rest of his life.
Terry, how are you innocent in all this? How do you not understand your responsibility for this?
Because the light is misleading, Fantany. How many times I gotta say it? Now, I'm 91 years old. I'm nearly blind, and my grandson and I were nearly killed by this dumbass in a Tokyo bumper car. And you want to cry about this young punk, one of these speed demons, being a cripple. Well, the business end of a priceless 55 Chev is pushed in like my rear end in an old folks home, and my son's got in their way.
Terry, you're going to do some serious time over this. I hope you realize that.
And not only that, well, when we impacted the Tojo mobile, my grandson spilled his milkshake on the seats, which, may I remind you, are original.
Terry.
Mark, you gotta understand something. These are original seats. You can't just go down to Turex and have them dig you up the original upholstery from a 55 Chev.
Terry, you crippled this young man for life. He's going to be in a wheelchair. You screwed him up for the rest of it, and you're worried about your damn seats.
Buck, he should consider himself lucky. He should consider himself damn lucky that I couldn't find my cane and that my walker was wedged in the trunk. Because if I had access to either of those, I would have pulled myself out of that storage unit and choked the Christ out of that kid.
How in the hell do you have the right?
Because he screwed up the resale value of my Chev. The value of that car was supposed to put my grandson Elvis through college. I had a guy coming down to look at it next week. Now, how in the hell am I going to unload a 55 Chev with a big brown stain on the passenger seat and a 454 that's facing straight up in the air? A big brown stain on...
Terry, this kid is 16 years old. You put him in a wheelchair, and you're looking at serious time for this. And I hope...
Christ. The real tragedy here is that little Elvis Bobolino isn't going to have his college education paid for when he becomes of age. And another thing, why the hell can't I cut loose every once in a while? Huh? What's wrong with a senior? A veteran of the Second World War, a wounded combat veteran, blowing off a little steam.
Blowing off steam. You call driving through town at 90 miles an hour, going airborne through a storage unit, blowing off steam.
That turkey in the rice burner might as well still be in diapers as far as I'm concerned. He hadn't lived a lick of life. And I gave up my youth to defend this country from a million screaming nips. And he's driving a car built by the grandsons of the guys me and my buddies were mowing down
you are not going to start with this.
1,000 screaming, slant-eyed savages coming at us in waves. And thank God for John Basilone and Mitchell Page when we were on Guadalcanal and their machine guns, just mowing down these nips like they were back home cutting the grass, or I'd be in the ground. And I'll tell you another thing, Fantanny.
Oh, yeah, what's that?
I'd say we're even. Because the elderly are dropping like flies on our roads at the hands of these young punks. About 2 years ago, I lost a damn good friend of mine. Damn good friend, Gary Dirkman, to one of these motorized freaks on the goofballs. Gary and his wife Inga, they was just leaving 3 Mile Supper Club to head to the Eagles to play bingo. They didn't even make it a quarter mile down the road.
Are you all right, Terry?
I'm fine. So my friend, Gary Dirkman, and his wife Binga pull out of the 3 Mile Supper Club and start heading towards Manistee. Now, I got all this information from one of the police officers on the scene, Bob Benjamin. And he told me that Gary and Linga got about 2 car lengths down the road when another vehicle traveling at high speed from the opposite direction drifted into their lane.
Oh, my God.
Yes, sir. Both of them killed instantly. Friends of mine of over 40 years. The other vehicle, driven by a 17-year-old piece of scum and his hussy girlfriend. Both of them on the goofballs. Badgerman told me that this kid's diesel pickup was traveling in excess of 100 miles an hour when it slammed into Gary and Dinga's Prius.
My God, that is awful, but I still don't.
I'll still go further than that. And I'll make it crystal goddamn clear what the hell's going on these roads. When the ambulance came to take the bodies back into town, Badgerman told me, and forgive me, as this is a little gruesome, but Badgerman told me that my 2 friends of 50 years, Gary and Linda Dirkman, were blown into pieces so small that they could have used them as pizza toppings.
Terry, I am so sorry to hear that.
Yes, sir. Badgerman said you could have picked them up with chopsticks.
Terry, I'm so sorry.
What the hell are you laughing at?
Terry, it is a tragedy what happened to your friend, but when you say pick him up with chopsticks, you know...
So you think that's funny, huh? You think that's funny, Fantanny? I'm on here bearing my soul, feeling open my chest and showing you the soul of a man who faced thousands of screaming Japs.
Terry, what does this have to do with...
Thousands of screaming, naked, submachine gun-toting Japs. And you have the balls to laugh at a veteran.
Terry, I'm sorry.
You can take your sorries and shove it where the sun don't shine. You're over there crying in your beer about this punk who's in a wheelchair now. Meanwhile, I got a piece of Jap steel stuck in my ass. And then I tell you that my buddy and his wife were shredded into pieces so small that you could pick them up with chopsticks, and you think that's funny. Gary Dirkman's Prius looked like it was parked on Main Street in downtown Nagasaki after the bomb went off, and you think that's funny.
I apologize, Terry. I truly apologize. I was not laughing at the situation. I was just laughing at the way you put it.
Oh, boy. I tell you, you laugh one more time, and I'm going to take you down to Pain Town.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, sir. You bet. Right down to Main Street, Pain Town. The 123 Ass Kick Avenue. And, buddy, oh, God.
Boy, you're real feisty tonight, Mr. Bobolino.
Oh, you bastard. You no good bastard.
Terry, please don't cry. I'm sorry.
I told Dirkman not to drive one of them Jap cars. I remember when he bought it. I said, Dirkman, those cheap Matchbox Jap cars are death traps. If he'd have been driving a piece of Detroit iron like my Chev, he'd still be walking around and not reduced to pieces so small they had to bury him in a goddamn shoebox. His life was snuffed out. 90 years plus of life snuffed out in a car built by a bunch of bull haircutted bucktooth.
That's it. Goodbye. I'm not having that trash on my show. Never again, Terry. Never again. God damn it.
The Fantanny Experience will be right back.
Do you smoke? Are you tired of the coughing and hacking caused by a full-flavored cigarette? Hi, I'm Marty Schickelgruber for Pole Cigarettes. Pole cigarettes have been around since 1948, a rich, full-flavored cigarette with a filter that provides a smoking experience unlike any other. Since 1948, Pole has been the choice for athletes who want full-flavored smoking pleasure without the damage to the lungs. Just ask LeBron James.
Hi, this is LeBron James from the Los Angeles Lakers. I've been smoking Pole cigarettes since I was 18. I get the flavor I want, and they don't leave me short of breath. I'm LeBron James.
Pole cigarettes. If you want to be like LeBron James, smoke a Pole.
And here's Buck Fantanny.
Jack, cut the music. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry of what you just had to hear. Joining us on the second half of our show is Estelle Washington, native of Detroit. Estelle moved to Manistee recently now that she has retired, and is joining us today to discuss the personal use of fireworks by Manistee residents during the recent 4th of July celebrations. Ms. Washington believes that the use of fireworks is inherently racist. Estelle, thank you for coming on the Fantanny Experience.
Yeah, hello, young man.
Hello, Estelle. As I understand, you have been quite vocal recently about your problem with the use of fireworks in this town. We're very glad to have you on the program. Let the great people of Manistee know your story.
Oh, God, yes. Well, hold on. I'm down here at the casino outside Manistee, playing the slots with my nephews. Just a second. Jamal, go get Annie some more tokens. You better move that ass, boy. You better check that tone. Sorry, Mr. Fantanny.
Oh, that's fine. Are you having any luck?
Nah, I ain't hit one bonus all day. These Indians, they pretty stingy. Here, let me do a max bet. We'll see what happens. I'm playing the Wizard of Oz machine here. Ah, shit.
Estelle.
Sorry. Yeah, I was downtown this last 4th of July with my 3 nephews, Jamal, Jalen, and Gillette Jones, the Jones boys. They come up from Detroit. They lives in Ferndale, and they come up for the 4th of July to visit with me.
And how old are your nephews, Estelle?
They 15, 17, and 20.
Well, that's very nice of them to come up and visit with you.
Oh, yes, they very good boys. Well, we was walking by the People's Store, just minding our own business, and some joker set off a string of firecrackers and cherry bombs that sounded like a police firing squad.
Well, I don't know if I can relate with the police firing squad aspect, but I do find fireworks myself to be quite startling.
Well, Mr. Fantanny, you got to understand that the tension between white people and specifically white police and people of color in this country is so thick right now, you could cut it with a butter knife. I mean, you could cut it with a spoon. Black men and black boys are being gunned down in the streets by bloodthirsty, honky cops and...
Estelle?
What?
Please, could you refrain from using the word honky or any other racial slur on my show? I will not tolerate it.
But you got to understand that people of color are on edge right now. Okay, we grinding our teeth, paranoid as hell, praying to God that we don't get murdered in the street by the police. Now, I got my 3 nephews up here, the Jones boys. 3 beautiful black young men. We're walking downtown, minding our own business. And, Mr. Fantanny, I don't know if you noticed, but this town is white as rice. I mean, there ain't a speck of color in this town. I mean, this town's so white you go snowblind from it.
Well, that's not entirely true.
And me and the Jones boys are walking past the People's Store, like I said, and some joker sets off a string of cherry bombs that sound like an army of cops opening fire at another innocent black man. And of course, my nephews, you know, they watch the news, they know what's going on. Well, they freaks out, and Mr. Fantanny, oh God, there was black men running all over the place. They was diving behind dumpsters, black men diving behind cars, even diving behind cop cars. And believe me, if a black man's diving behind a cop car, you know damn well that a brother's scared to death.
Estelle.
Them sirens is going off, okay? Because you white bread up here, you got to run them police sirens on 4th of July like he's getting paid to do it, which make any self-respecting black man within earshot nervous as hell. So these poor boys is already on edge from what's going on in this country. Then you got hot firecrackers and cherry bombs going off all over the place.
Sounded like a whole damn police department and opening fire, and then, oh Christ, there's black men diving for cover.
Estelle, I want to make it clear that I am very sensitive to the plight of people of color in this country, and I think it is indisputable that colored people are suffering at the hands of police. But I cannot...
What do you mean, colored people?
Oh, ma'am, I did not mean...
What do you mean, colored people? You Jim Crow? Huh?
No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Washington. I guess I misspoke.
Fantanny, you better check that tone, boy. You better check that tone. Because you can tell me that you's an ally with people of color all you want to that pasty-ass white face here turned blue. But you ain't got any idea what it like to be a nervous black man on the 4th of July with firecrackers going off, especially up here in Honkyville.
Estelle.
Now, you just imagine. Imagine you're a black man up here in Stowe Country. You sweating like a pig, grinding your teeth to a point. Because every time you hear a Roman candle go off, you think Derek Chauvin coming up behind you. You know what? Fuck it.
Miss Washington, this is becoming insane. I gotta tell you, after the day I've had...
It's being done deliberately. Up here in Honkyland, okay, in Crackertown, y'all see some black man walking down the street, that probably rile you up, don't it? And you decide you're gonna run him out of town by setting off a trunk full of cherry bombs, scaring the shit out of every Negro.
No, this town is not racist. I'm sorry.
It's scaring the pants off everyone. It's scare and intimidate a man of color right out of this town. And after what happened to George Floyd, it's obvious it's being done on purpose. Every 4th of July, you got these cops and fire trucks running their sirens all over this town, and black men are just running all over the place, scared to death. It's just a natural reaction. You hear a siren, and believe me, somewhere, a black man's going to be running like hell. And if you ask me, I think 4th of July was created to intimidate black men.
Well, Estelle, I've got to stop you. I just have to go back to what you were saying. I cannot have you using racial epithets on my show. I won't allow it.
I ain't sorry. I ain't sorry at all. Manistee is the definitions of honky town. A town that chock full of saltine crackers, goddamn box of crackers, Jesus H, tap dancing Christ. I mean, I pray to Afro Ebony Jesus every night that he do something about this honky ass...
Estelle, I hung up on Terry Bobolino, and I will sure as hell hang up on you.
Oh, you want to threaten me now, huh? Oh, you big tough guy now, huh? You better check your tone. And you're going to bring up this Terry Bobolino on here. You want to talk about a crack-ass racist...
Bobolino.
What's that?
Bobolino. It's pronounced Bobolino.
What, you trying to say? You saying I don't talk good or something?
Oh, no.
Uh-huh. So you got this Terry Bobolino on here, that limp-wristed, honky-ass racist, talking about his 55 Chevy and his 454 like it's all that in a bag of pork rinds, old crack-ass crap can. Hell, yeah, he probably got a bunch of hamsters under that hood, running on wheels. Jesus Christ, on a unicycle.
I don't know about that.
You know, I've seen that turkey before. I had to run in with that senile old bastard. I seen his old jive turkey crack-ass driving around that jalopy. Oh, Christ, sound like he got a sewing machine under the hood. 454, my ass.
Estelle, can you please stop using those words?
Oh, he a twisted old fruit. He come up to me at Folk Fest, the old perv, talking all sweet to me like he trying to get into my goodies. Call me baby and chocolate queen and all this jazz. I said, first of all, you better check your tone. You best check your tone. And I told him, I said, I'm going to bury the stiletto so far up your ass, they ain't never going to find it. They ain't a surgeon around that's got an arm long enough to reach up your backside and pull up my high heel that's going to be turned sideways up in your ass, you drunk asshole.
So Terry Bobolino propositioned you, as it were.
Oh, yeah. He come right up to me like he's Mel Gibson or something. Call me Sugar Tits, call me Aunt Jemima, saying he want to get some of this syrup. And I thought to myself, oh, sweet black Jesus, Estelle, you're going to have to slap the honky lips right off this old cracker pervert. I said, Terry, you get it back in your pants right now, I'm going to slap the taste out your mouths. Like I said, he a drunk asshole.
Well, he does appear to have a problem with alcohol. Actually, he was recently...
Oh, Christ, he was drunk. His breath smelled like lighter fluid. He's stumbling around looking like he'd been measuring sidewalks upside down. You know what I mean? Stumbling all over the place, spilling the peanuts all over the grass in the beer garden. You know, he's doing Irish yoga all up and down the street, and it was embarrassing as hell. He's wearing these little shorty shorts, and the little tiny jean shorts. He had himself stuffed into them, and balls were hanging out.
Oh, God, please stop with that.
Oh, you better believe it. 95-year-old man stuffed into Daisy Dukes, balls hanging out in the breeze, doing the Irish yoga all over the place. His wrinkly old bag was just swinging in the wind. It was disgusting. Then he got the stones to try and grope me in broad daylight. And you know what I think? I think he's damn lucky I didn't whoop his ass right then and there. Either way, I think it's all for show.
What exactly do you mean by it's all for show?
I think it's all for show. You don't hear good?
I heard you fine, Estelle. I'm just wondering what you mean exactly.
I mean the crack. You know, he bats for the other team. He's a switch hitter, if you catch my drift. You know, he's this nasty Ernest P. Worrell-looking piece of trash. Talk about Ernest goes to camp, or Ernest goes to jail. Terry Bobolino was starring in Ernest Goes to the Gay Bar.
So you're implying that... Well, what exactly are you implying?
Jesus, Fantanny, I gotta spell it out for you? You deaf? You dumb? Can't you put two and two together? You got this old perv walking around in shorty shorts, exposing himself, trying to get a taste of my syrup, and then he's eyeing up my nephews like he's standing in the candy bar aisle looking at chocolate bars. Here, how about this? I make it real clear for you. It's spelled F-A-G, fruit.
Oh, God.
Oh, he a sick old fairy. He think he all twisted steel and sex appeal, but he a queen if I ever seen one. He probably had panties on under them shorts.
Well, for legal reasons, I'm not going to comment on that. The Bobolinos are notorious for litigating.
Oh, hell, I couldn't give 2 lengths of the good shit. But I guarantee it. I guarantee he got a whole drawer of bloomers at home. Over at the men's bathhouse he call a home, sick old queer Peckerwood.
I've got to wrap this up, Estelle. We're actually out of...
Redneck, trailer trash, Peckerwood, honky son of a bitch.
Goodbye. Estelle, goodbye. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for what you just heard. It's times like this that I question if it's worth doing this podcast. But what keeps me going is that I'm providing you with the information that you need, that you can't get anywhere else. This is Buck Fantanny saying, have a good night.